Hey, what's going on, guys? So it's finally time to talk about this Walmart neck knife here. All right, I've retired it for no other reason than there's more neck knives to be tried. That's really all it is. I like this one. There are some things I don't like about it, which we'll obviously talk about in this video. But overall, it's fantastic for $5. Now, I will point out, someone had commented and said, well, it's not really a $5 knife because you can't buy it by itself for $5. You have to buy the 3-pack, the set of knives, which is $15. So if you want to call this a $15 knife that comes with 2 free ones, by all means, go right ahead. So that being said, even if it was $15, I'd buy it again. I think it's worth 15 bucks. I'll cut right to the chase. The one thing I don't like about it the most is the blade steel, which obviously is a mystery. I've had, fairly decent success with a lot of the Ozark trail stuff. They're obviously all on the soft side. Like, when I say something's good, it's good for the price. If you're paying $4 or $5 for a knife and it doesn't literally fall apart on you, it's probably pretty good, right? But for some reason, this one just doesn't hold an edge as good as some of, if not most of the other Ozark trail knives that I've had before. All right, so it's something that constantly has to be maintained. Every time I use this, I do strop it up. I generally do that with a lot of knives anyway, regardless of the steel. But I just know this one, it actually needed some sharpening a few different times, where normally if I just strop up a knife, it's fine. So, I mean, yeah, the blade steel itself is nothing to write home about. It dulled out fairly quickly. That's the biggest thing I don't like about it. There's a lot that I do like about it. But it is important to note that, like, when I'm EDCing a knife, I'm using it in real life situations. But more times than not, I don't use a knife throughout my daily life that I could just go by that alone. Even if I carry a knife for a week or two or a month, who knows how much cutting I'm actually doing with it. So I have to go out of my way and literally cut stuff around the house. I have to, cut up cardboard, and sometimes I'll do some zip ties or cordage, all kinds of things. But I have to go out of my way to really test that edge. That being said, if you bought this knife and you carry it around the neck and you just go about your daily life, it'll probably last you weeks or months and stay sharp because you're not using it that much. It's when you're literally cutting things all the time is when you really see how a blade steel performs. All right, so if I say, like, hey, this doesn't stay sharp that long, it can stay sharp for someone else for 6 months or a year. If you're carrying every day, but you're really not using it all that much, so just put that in perspective. But first off, I want to talk, and this is not, specific to this knife, but the whole chain versus cordage, right? I have paracord in this one. I'm kind of 50-50. Half of my neck knives have ball and chain necklaces. The other half have paracord. I do like just a simple, setup. That this is something my wife showed me when we were dating years ago, and I never will look back. It's just a fantastic system to have, an adjustable, neck lanyard for these knives. And then obviously just a little decorative knot here. That just kind of keeps these cords together. One thing I will say about this sheath, which I really like, is the 2 holes that are on top do keep this straight. So, like, as a neck knife, sometimes you'll have placement, you'll have like one hole on top, or like one hole that's not quite centered. So sometimes neck knives naturally want to carry on an angle, depending on the mounting points, let's call them. And this one's very nice. It's just 2 very even things on top, so it does carry very straight, all right, around the neck. Something else I really like about the sheath is the fact that it is a snap sheath. All right, so it's not like pressure fit. It literally just snaps in. All right, so it is very, very retained in there. It doesn't wiggle. It doesn't get loose. It doesn't fall out. But it doesn't take much effort at all to get this out. All right, there is a little jimping right there. So you purposely are supposed to put your thumb here and push forward. So you're not really pulling the knife out. You certainly can. There's not a lot of pressure there. You can just pull it right out. But you have so much more control by doing this. All right, so you're holding onto the knife, and you can do this with any knife, by the way, if it has any kind of protrusion on the sheath. But try this. If you normally just yank it out, try this instead. Hold the knife firmly, put your thumb, obviously you have to leave room for movement of your thumb, but just put your thumb on there, and don't pull the knife, just push your thumb. All right, that's all it takes here. I'm just pushing my thumb, and it's been released. So you don't have to do this like grand, dramatic yank of your knife to get it out. All right, you just literally do that. So yeah, the sheath is fantastic. It's like a fold over type design. They do have 2 other holes here, although it's soft plastic. If you have a drill at home, you can drill holes anywhere. But I do like that even though this doesn't come with any kind of mounting hardware, it gives you the option to use it. You know, they understand, whoever designed this, hey, someone might want to put some kind of belt clip or something on here, so let's make some points where they can probably do that. Then there's also a triangle type cutout on the top here that is for drainage. That's so that if you're out in the pouring rain or if you get, you know, dunk in water or whatever, it will completely drain out. Now, normally knives are like this, like belt knives, right? So having a drainage point on a neck knife that's supposed to be like this, you know, it's not necessary really, because if this thing got wet, it's never going to drain from there because of the thing called gravity, right? You're probably not just going to hold your knife like this for a while to let it all drain out. It would naturally drain out through the bottom. So, but you know, just something I noticed there. It's not hurting anything. So overall, the sheath, fantastic. Love the sheath. All right, so the knife itself, I think it's a good looking knife. Now, obviously I compare this to the Mora Eldris, which is a very similar design. I have a whole video just kind of showing them side by side, maybe some differences. Overall, I like the Eldris more. It's just a better knife in its performance. However, this one looks better with a less bulbous handle, let's say. It's definitely proportionate. I think it looks great. There's still enough handle here, but the Eldris obviously fills out your hand even more for a more secure grip. It's a plastic rubber type combo. All right, so we have plastic that's molded around the tang here, and then we have these like kind of rubber, I don't know if they're actually inserts or if it's just when they're doing the process, they just put this rubberized stuff on it. I don't know. But the sides feel really nice. All right. There's a lot of grip that's there. It's not tacky. It's not gummy, but it's like, it's just really grippy. It's like tire. All right. Tire rubber. And then we have these other points here with jimping on it as well. All right. It's on the back and the front strap. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So obviously where your thumb rests, there's grip there. It actually works very nicely if you wanted to hold it in reverse grip like this. Like let's say you're, you know, cutting something towards you. You can certainly do that there. I did not do any stabbing with this at all, but it's nice that it's there as well. Yeah, I just really like the look of it. I like the blade profile, nice little clip point here. Plenty of belly up front for slicing, which is fine, but we do have mostly a straight edge here. And because of the clip point, we do have a, you know, fairly tippy tip. Can I say that? A tippy tip? So it's not like super aggressive point. So piercing is not, it's not like a needle or anything like that at all. But it's enough of a point to actually be a point. Okay, this very much could have been designed differently where it was a wider point. But because it's not a super fine point either, I haven't had any issues. Like I did a lot of like, you know, piercing and cutting and stuff, and I didn't have any deformation of the tip, which I thought I would, especially with the softer steel. All right, one of the benefits of having softer steel is that if you do hit something really hard, like let's say you're cutting a cardboard box open, like a shipping box, a big one, and you have those giant like copper staples, or sometimes they're stainless staples, whatever. If you're ripping a box open, you hit that, that's bad news for your knife edge, of course, right? On a very hard premium steel, a lot of times that'll chip. So you're literally, you know, chipping out metal, which is a huge pain. You have to reprofile in order to get rid of that chip. With softer metal, it generally doesn't chip, it'll bend. And I mean, nothing's preferable. You don't want bends and chips or anything in your blade, but it's a little bit easier to fix that than something that actually chips out. So that's really kind of the very small, tiny silver lining of a softer steel. All right, is that generally speaking, you'll get, you know, indentations on your edge, but it'll roll or something like that, but it won't chip out as easy. But yeah, I mean, you have plenty of grip here. Like I said, it's a good looking blade. I happen to like the green and tan type color here. I do not believe this is offered in any other colors. The black blade's fine. The coating held up. No idea what the coating is on this guy, but it's not chipping or peeling or anything like that, which is very nice. Of course, with the Ozark Trail on one side, China on the other. All right, and we have a lanyard hole that's on the bottom here. I did not put a lanyard on this. For my hand, if I was using this long term, like if I really wanted this to be my regular neck knife all the time, if you saw my video on the Eldris, I do have a lanyard on the Eldris, and I would recommend the exact same thing for this. So if you do end up getting this knife and liking it, want to carry it long term, I would recommend that, because obviously we have no pinky action here. So just a simple braided lanyard about yay long or so would give you a nice, you know, a place to rest your pinky, all right, for even more grip. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. For a $5 knife, it's pretty amazing. For a $15 knife, if you want to look at it like that, it's still good. I still really like it. I just love the design so much. I can oversee the fact that it doesn't stay sharp that long. If you find yourself someone who, you know, likes to carry a neck knife and you're not using it all the time, it's just kind of a backup knife or it's a convenience knife. Like for me, I've always pitched the idea of a neck knife because it's fantastic when I'm sitting. If I'm sitting in my vehicle, if I'm sitting, in a chair in a different location to dip into my pocket, it's just not as easy as just going like this, it's right there. It's right in front of me. Now that being said, I open carry, all right? So it's a big deal, or big difference, I should say, if you have this openly on your neck, which I've done for literally decades at this point, compared to a lot of you who like neck knives, you like them concealed. You don't want to draw attention to yourself. That's a whole different ball of wax, because now that it's under your shirt, it may or may not be as convenient, to lift up your shirt, take it out. I mean, taking it out is always easy. You could blindly just grab any neck knife and retrieve it quickly for some kind of defensive situation. However, putting it back could be a massive pain. The same thing could be said for certain sheaths if you wear belt knives and stuff. All right, especially if you're a bigger dude. All right, when you got rolls that you're tucking out of the way to try to get your knife back in your sheath, it's obviously a pain. So open carrying is all my experience. I don't conceal carry my neck knives. It's out and about. Everyone who knows me, my whole area, people are just used to it. It's not a big deal. Like I said, sometimes I'll get the weird stares, like a woman with her cleavage showing. I'm used to it at this point. It's what it is. It's fine. But I know a lot of you guys still don't like the idea of having open carry, which is seriously less convenient. It's nice to have a backup knife. It's nice to have an emergency knife. If that's your goal, that's totally fine. Especially with something like this, because you don't have to worry about that steel choice. You don't have to worry about it getting dull. If you're carrying a neck knife for defense, doesn't matter what it is. As long as you have it when you need it, you're good. You're good to go. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one for defense just because of its bulk. It's bigger and chunkier. It does have a shorter blade. I would do something that was much leaner and longer. For defense, you really do want kind of the length on there. Again, there's many different ways to look at that. For me, if I'm using a knife to defend myself, it's a life-threatening situation, and I'm not messing around with some dinky little knife. You know what I'm saying? I want something with reach. I want to pierce organs. I want to get in where I need to be and get out and hopefully survive and live, right? Now, something else, not specific to this knife, but because we're talking about neck knives in general. Again, the difference between paracord and like a ball and chain necklace. The ball and chain is preferred if you're worried about safety. Someone brought this up a couple weeks ago. I was having a conversation on Instagram about it, and they were saying how they only use a ball and chain. They were kind of reaching out to say like, hey, you probably shouldn't use paracord because like if it gets caught on something, you can choke yourself, or if you get into a fight, someone can grab it and like control your neck and arms. If someone literally tries to grab my neck knife, my gun's coming out and I'm shooting them. And that's no joke. That is my instinct to do because they are a life threat to me. You're trying to grab my knife, which in that case is extremely aggressive, and in my opinion, and maybe it's just my opinion, but that's a life-threatening situation. So I would act appropriate in that situation. So I'm completely not concerned with that whatsoever. The choking thing, again, I've carried neck knives with all different types of necklaces, let's call them, for literally 2 decades plus now. So, maybe knock on wood, I've never accidentally caught on something. I've never choked myself. But if that's a concern for you, or if concealment is a concern, you don't want just like a random cord necklace, because that would be it would stand out certainly more than like a ball and chain. A ball and chain could be any necklace. It could be anything. You could have a little pendant on there, or locket, who knows. It's also lighter weight. I do notice, obviously, in the wintertime, it's metal, so it's colder. I can feel that. But yeah, if you want the like deep concealment, lightweight, and safe, then go with the ball and chain. If you can't, you can find anything on the internet. Obviously, you go on Amazon, find that super cheap. You can, find cord cheap. You could do all that stuff. But maybe in the future, I'll show you, where to go, in person. If you don't want to buy stuff online, or if you just want to get something quickly today, maybe I'll make a separate video talking about a quick little neck knife setup. You can get it like Home Depot or Lowe's. We'll talk about it in the future if I happen to visit. But anyway, yeah. So I don't really care. Half my stuff's paracord, half of it's ball and chain. Doesn't matter to me. Everything's open. Nothing's concealed. It's all out there. But for me, it's super, super convenient. I'll always have other knives on me and stuff, but like I said, specifically in the sitting position, or if I'm lending a knife out, I'll usually lend my neck knife out because it's right there. Boom, boom. That's it. There's no folding. There's no. This person doesn't know what lock mechanism I have. They don't know how to use it. It's easy. You know, it's just, there it is, a fixed blade. People, they usually don't break them or mess them up too bad, and then that's it, and I get it back. Usually I'm supervising, by the way. I don't just lend someone my knife and then walk away. I'll watch them. Yeah, you can use my knife, but I'm going to watch how you're using my property. And if you're doing something wrong, I'm going to tell you, number one, you're being unsafe, or number two, you might damage it, you know? So I have no problem with that. I'm not shy. If you're asking me for something, I'm there watching you. So there's that too. But anyway, so that is all. I do like it overall. Like I said, if you find that you're using your neck knives like very frequently, then you'd probably want to just pass this one up. Even though it's super cheap and very tempting, it just doesn't hold an edge as long, in my opinion and my experience, than a lot of the other Ozark Trail stuff, which is, none of it's like super impressive, but for the prices, it's very impressive. I hope that makes sense. It's very important to relate one to the other. You know, if you give me a $100 knife and it dulls out fairly quickly, I'd probably be a little disappointed. But if you give me a $5 or $10 knife and it dulls out, I'm fully expecting that. And if it doesn't dull out, I'm actually impressed, you know? So anyway, take it for what it's worth. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you're rocking this same neck knife. Since the other videos I did, I'm sure some people bought them. So let me know if you have one of these, what you think of it so far, what your experience has been. But like I said, the only real negative here is the fact that it just doesn't stay sharp as long. Because, again, keep in mind, I use hundreds of different neck knives of various quality and steels and stuff like that. So I've been super impressed with some of the more expensive ones, of course. So that is always in the back of my mind. Like, hey, this is cool. Kind of wish they offer this in like a 154 CM or, you know, D2. You know, S30V would be pretty cool. But obviously, we're talking about a Walmart knife. It's just never going to happen. We don't even really know the steel that's in here, right? It's a mystery. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. And I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.